With the launch of Overwatch 2 and the game now going free to play for everybody, there's been a lot of people asking, where does this leave Paladins? For those of you that do not know who Paladins is or what Paladins is actually a free to play FPS shooter game. It's been around as long as Overwatch 1 and stemming back to 2015, 2016 when both games were just in beta and just starting out. With Hi-Rez still being in charge of the game since then, it is still here for today, but how much longer? And only time will tell. From not being the only FPS shooter game anymore, and now that Overwatch 2 is here, to having now record low player numbers and updates that are just lackluster at best, are we getting a glimpse to the soon-to-be end for Paladins? Let's talk about it. It's now going on almost a month since Overwatch 2 was released and now free to play. Some of the new changes to the game are going from 6v6 to 5v5, new maps, new game modes, ranked being completely reworked, and a very solid start to the Battle Pass to grind towards, and 3 new heroes on launch, those being Junker Queen, Sojourn, and Kiriko, and new content every 2 months, and we also got constant balance and bug fixes as well during those patches. Overall, for somebody that has almost 6,000 hours into Paladins and 2,000 hours into Overwatch 1, the change from 5v5 has made the game so much more better and a lot more playable. And I've just been playing Overwatch 2 so much as of late. I've been having a lot of fun. It actually rewards you for actually putting time into the game, whether it's grinding ranked or playing with friends. It makes you get invested into something, and that's what a game really needs. Overwatch 2 by no means is a perfect game, and it's very rare to find one that is. But for the first month, it has a super promising lifespan, tons of upside and excitement in store for everybody, including me. And there's supposed to even be a PvE part of the game that is not even here, and that's supposed to be here starting in the start of 2023. So even more stuff to look forward to, and that's even on the way. Now let's talk a bit about Paladins. For some of the lowest player numbers ever to having one of the worst updates ever, the game has been struggling, but now it's struggling more than ever before with the sheer fact the game lacks meaningful content and continues to get more and more unplayable with every new update. Nothing is ever being fixed, and with the lack of communication from the devs, it really seems like nobody cares unless it involves players giving them money. It's also no longer the only free-to-play game in a huge, vast variety of other great free-to-play games on the market. Just look at this most recent update. We got no new maps, no new game modes, and yet another new champion, which is Kasumi, that did not add anything to the game at all, and nothing we really needed. They are pretty much just running out of ideas and badly running out of ideas. And with how frustrating she can be to play against for your average player, it's not difficult to see why. Her design is super cool along with a lot of the other newer champions that we keep getting every update, but they lack major lore or any reason as to why they're even in the game, apart from adding filler content every other update. Same thing with 90% of the other more recent champions like Casbane or even like Betty LaBomba, for example. They're either rushed or even worse, rushed and balanced poorly on release, leading to people being just frustrated and not even wanting to play a new update for more than 1 or 2 days. They think new champions will keep players invested in the game when it's doing the exact opposite. Less is more. Just look at the 3 new heroes Overwatch 2 gave us. Junker Queen, while being a bit weak, is currently super fun to play and adds something to the game we never really had in any previous heroes. Sojourn is overdue and kind of OP right now, and it's due for a nerf. Even though her design is a bit boring, she makes up for it by being super fun to play. And last but not least, Kiriko, which may be one of my new favorite supports in Overwatch. From her design to how she plays, and actually takes a decent amount of skill to master her, she may be one of my new favorite additions to Overwatch, and one of the best additions to Overwatch in the last 4 years since we got Echo in Overwatch 1. I can't stop playing her, and she's just so much damn fun. She really is. The most recent event pass, which is just a battle pass pretty much, costs 400 crystals, which is around about $7 or $8. It depends where you are, that's USD. And continues to have nothing but garbage and filler trash apart from 2 average at best skins. At least for this patch, one being for Tiberius and the other being for Leon, who already has so many skins and constantly gets skins to begin with. We gotta stop giving recolors and skins to champions that have way too many skins and start giving to ones that actually have barely any skins. Ones like Shaolin, Mikoa, Pip, and a handful of other ones that have not had skins in 4+ years. Those are the champions that need skins for event passes and future updates. The entire event pass needs to be reverted to when we had an actual battle pass of 60 to 70 to 80 tiers and had more than 2 skins and way less filler garbage and way less recolors. Let's look at Overwatch's battle pass, which is $10 and includes a ton upon tons of great cosmetics and skins, including a mythical Genji skin, which you can customize however you want, which by itself is at least worth $10 if I'm being 100% real and honest with you guys. Voice lines, sprays, weapon charms, emotes, MVP poses, MVP highlight reels. There's even a prestige track for those that actually want to buy the battle pass, so we can get some more limited time titles and even more stuff to grind for after you finish the entire already 70, 80 tiers of the normal battle pass. You may not get any premium currency back in the battle pass, unlike Paladins gives you, which they give you a little bit of premium currency, along with daily logins and challenges. But with how good of a value $10 is for the Overwatch battle pass, it's understandable on why they never did that, which I'm completely fine with, and a lot of people are also completely fine with, because the battle pass is just huge value and has a bunch of great content. As for the playability of Overwatch 2, I've barely had any issues with the actual game and actually playing the game. The first few days of launch, we all know the servers were garbage. Only 90% of the players were locked out of the servers. Everybody was constantly getting disconnected and getting server errors, which was incredibly frustrating, and they fixed it as fast as possible, which is something Hi-Rez would never do. It takes them, usually, if they had the same problem, it would probably take them 2 or 3 weeks. But since then, it's been fixed, and we continue to get more major bugs and issue fixes with heroes and the game itself every 2 to 3 weeks, and even more for some of the less major type of bugs and stuff. Paladins, as many of you know, is a much different story. From constant server issues to the major game-breaking bugs that either take months, if not years, to get fixed, to freezing and crashing, especially for us Nintendo Switch players like myself, it continues to get worse and worse every update. Textures do not load, it is impossible for us to even see our skins anyways, to the game even breaking your entire console with a new bug they added. What the fuck? What the fuck? My game just froze. My entire game just fucking froze. I'm trying to... It fucking bricked my Switch. I'm trying to go to the menu, it's not going to the menu, it's not going to the menu, what the fuck's going on? This is new, I've never had this happen before. I don't know if you guys are playing, if anybody else plays on Switch. Have you guys had this happen? I'm trying to go to the menu and nothing's happening. It doesn't want to let me out of the game. Uh-oh. What do I do? What do I do? I don't want to shut my Switch off, the entire stream will end. Okay, now it worked. Okay, good. Holy fuck. Update. We also had a major game-breaking sound issues for the last pretty much half of 2022, and it took them 4 months to get them 50% fixed. We had no updates, and we were just expected to sit and play for months on end to eventually hope they'll finally do something without getting any insight onto what's happening at all. Even as I'm making this, the sound issues are not 100% fixed. They're only 70, maybe 60% fixed, and it looks like they may never be fully fixed anytime soon. maybe a couple years from now if the game lasts that long, which is really sad, and it goes to show you where their priorities are. Because before each update, there's also a PTS, or a player test server, which is supposed to be used to balance champions and bug fixes before they put a new patch and the stuff from that patch into the live game, so they can make adjustments and fixes with that before they ruin everything else. But it never seems to be fully used apart from a short 2-week showcase of new content for anybody that actually cares to try it out on PC a month or two before a new update. That's pretty much how that goes. At this point, Paladins desperately needs help more than ever. What does Paladins have that makes it different than Overwatch 2 at this point, or even a bunch of other games in 2022 going into 2023? The only things I could think of are the talent and the item system, and a very small, minuscule amount of fun and unique champions that you can still play as. Maeve, Vora, Yaggareth, Cassie, Meldamba, Pip, Atlas, and a few others that you can play and that just make you play the game just for them. Ranked is a joke, and there is no pro play for this game, so any hopes of getting great and going pro are not an option, which many people still aspire to even do nowadays. So that even makes less of a reason. But at what point is the worth suffering and dealing with beyond awful champion balance, matchmaking, and constantly people leaving your games and then getting stuck with 2 or 3 bots on your team in a casual, or even worse, a ranked match, to where you ask yourself, why am I still playing this over something else I like playing? If you like Paladins and somehow still enjoy it, that's completely fine. But for me and most people, it gets to the point where there's just so many other things to play and put your time into that are actually playable and reward players for their time, that it doesn't even pay playing this game anymore, and there's less of a reason to even bother playing this. At this point, what does Paladins have that will bring back new players or make old players give the game another chance going into Season 6 for the start of 2023? At least for me, the only major thing I think they have left is the game mode Payload, which is pretty much a game mode they removed 5 or 6 years ago. At least for me, I was not playing during that time. But what it pretty much is, it's pretty much the new game mode from Overwatch, which is called Push. It's pretty much the Paladins version of Push, but with the ability to buy items from the item store, I guess. At least that's what it seems to be and what I've heard. Even then, will it bring any new players in, which is a huge problem as well? And if it brings back older players that stopped playing a long time ago, how long will it last before they leave again after seeing how bad the game runs and how unplayable it is and how unbalanced the game is? And they'll go back to leaving the game just like years ago. Even if the dev team would communicate with the players, the game would feel a lot more alive. Since the last community manager, Romanoma, many of y'all probably remember her, she left about a year ago now. We barely get anything. It feels like the game is just on autopilot at all times, which is really sad. We barely get any 2x Battle Pass EXP weekends or even Champion EXP weekends anymore, and nothing regarding major issues or concerns on a weekly basis for the community like we used to when she was still around as the community manager. Remember when they used to send out teasers and teasers to the content creators for like new champions? Like a couple months in advance, they'd send out new teasers and like to get people excited for new champions before a new update would be here. I mean, it's pretty much stopped ever since Romanova left. It really has. I don't think they've really done that at all, at least recently, at least that I know of. Don't get me wrong, we still technically do have a community manager, but they don't really do anything apart from the bare minimum, at least that's what it seems, and appear on the update show once in a while, and that's really about it. But judging they can't even say a champion's name correctly on the update show a couple months ago, and they probably barely play the game themselves, and let them really know what's going on a weekly basis.
Coming up, first off, we got Gold Tira for anyone that's put the time in and mastered her. And again, I'm always a fan of the gold and black, gold and anything really. But yeah, she looks great. I can say that I hate going against Tira. So anyone that has this skin, like, I'm dodging.
That weapon looks really good too.
We also have an assembly of champions that, just in case people don't know what it is. It's pretty much a voted for by the community bunch of representatives that try to give feedback and suggestions to the devs and hoping to make the game better. For this being a thing multiple years now and stuff still getting worse and worse, it's either a problem of it not helping at all, or the people being voted in and voted onto the council only being there for personal benefits, or just putting all their own suggestions in before the communities and being biased towards themselves, or different members bringing up the same topic every other meeting when they've already gotten a response from the dev multiple times on the exact same subject. Then we wonder why nothing changes, which is one of the huge reasons why.
They need to do something more. I don't care if you crash. I don't. The only people who crash often are those on console players, and if you play Paladins on the Switch, you kind of deserve it. You should know by now to never play Paladins on Switch.
At this point, the AOC needs to go. It needs to be removed and never brought back because it does not do anything. And for the 2-3 years, going on 4 years now that it's been around, it seems to do nothing and does not help anything at all. And if anything, it's worse for the game. In the end, this is not meant to be a comparison video to Overwatch 2 in any way, but it's the best example of a game that is the closest thing to Paladins and some of the things their competition is doing right, and how bad stuff in Paladins is going wrong, and how bad they're doing stuff currently and have been doing over the years. It's at the point where many people, including myself, have a strong suspicion Paladins will not make it past 2023, and judging by Hi-Rez's track record of killing off games that no longer make max profit from years of neglect and bad decisions, just like Realm Royale, there's a high probability that it'll be the case. All we can do is hope Hi-Rez realizes this and make some major changes that will make the game and surely help the game for longevity and make it better without a doubt. What those changes are and what they really can do at this point is to be seen, because there's really little options left. And the longer they wait, the less options there's going to be. But then again, it's Hi-Rez, and the only game they seem to care about is Smite, and that's a sad reality.